Hey friends and family, hey fools, hey magicians and alchemists and gardeners and creators and artists. Hi, just saying hi today. There's a couple things that I get to share and I get to say, and so hi, I'm here to play. So I shared a video a couple days ago and kind of shared a few things around my boiling point, what my boiling point is, the things that have been bothering me, the things that I've been reconciling and repairing, making reparations, making amends, reconciliations within myself, making that peace, and coming back into balance for my well-being, for my true well-being, for all of me, making the room, making the space, this inclusivity, for all I am, for all of me, and for me and we, holding the space, holding the tension, holding the in-between. And it's not easy sometimes, but I just am constantly reminded to surrender and allow and let go and breathe, begin again. Go back to beginner's mind, the I don't know, the 0 point. And allowing it all to exist. So I have this little paper from a Reiki class that I took in 2007, Spiritual Precepts of Reiki. Just for today, be not fearful. Just for today, be not consumed in anger. Walk your path in kindness to self and others. Be diligent in your responsibilities. Walk your life in gratitude and humility. Namaste. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is of love, of truth, of light, and of peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we are one. Namaste. It's a good reminder, just like in Lakesh, it's a Mayan saying that you are another one of myself. And I am another one of yourself. And so, these messages that have been coming in around all our relations, that we're all connected. And we're all related. We're all related to each other. And so I think it's kind of interesting to watch certain ways in which we deliberately try and separate each other or blend in and belong to each other, in certain ways. And I do think that's a normal human need, like differentiation and everything. But it's a little bit harder sometimes to know like what we're actually reinforcing sometimes when we're so attached to certain identities or to who we think we are. And so going through this ego death, and it's just like, looking into some things that I've received and some messages, and there was something in the dream body the other day that I read. I had that thread, and it just kind of, let's see if it comes back in. We'll see if it does. It's kind of interesting how it just appeared and then disappeared. It was emerging from the unconscious, and then it went back down, it submerged again. But it's so interesting when we get attached to certain identities of who we think we are. That's what it was. It was like a certain beliefs. It was actually from faith, trusting our own deepest experience. It was certain beliefs that we wear, like a garment or whatever. Sometimes it's past that point where it's become skeletal because it's part of our structure and everything. So it's not as easy to kind of look at and just shed and take off. It's without unraveling certain things. And so we'll see what else wants to be said about that. There are a few things that I didn't get to say in my last video and in the video before that, where it was a 2-hour long video and actually the sound didn't work and it was not hearable at all, which is kind of interesting and ironic because I haven't felt heard and I haven't felt seen, and I haven't felt understood, and I haven't felt received in certain ways. And so it is kind of interesting going through this process to free my voice and to break my own silence and to speak my own truth and to stand up for what I know is right. And so all of these things might just tie in nicely or be weaved in together, naturally and lightly. We'll see where this wants to go. So I have a little reviewing to do from my journal, and just kind of wanted to share some of the realizations and the insights that I've received this week, and the peace that I've made within myself about certain things that I just really was asking for clarity and help for understanding. Help to understand. Just to be at peace within myself. And I knew that I didn't have to have that understanding to be at peace. I could be at peace and not need to understand, to let go of the need to understand. And so, once I let go of the need to understand, and then I was able to open to receive, and either or, like, it's okay if I don't receive it, and if it's great if I do, And so it was pretty awesome that I was able to, just with looking within and then being open to receiving certain messages, how it just was able to come in. And so, it does relate. It relates to what is happening on the outer stage and to what is happening internally. And so there is no separation. So I'm looking at my journal from this month and going back to October 15th. Just have my journal open here, and this was during our full moon in Aries energy, which was very, very potent. So full moon in Aries, potency, rebirth, life, death cycles, and energies. Today feels like a go-getter kind of day, a go-getter or go-home kind of day. Go big or go home, either or way. I am loved and I am enough. My love loves always. I am so loved and I am always enough. So be here, let go, and just play. Skeleton's gonna start dancing right out of the spiritual closets. Maybe not going to be so very pretty. So anchor, ground, center, brace yourself, relax into love, bend and be flexible. It's about ready to accelerate and be all sorts of amplified. All right, bitches, ready, set, ride. Take the bull by the horns and get ready to die. Get down with the sickness, allow her to rise. She is rising, all one, all we rise. Through her grace, beauty, power, and wisdom, we rise. Yes, the light, the heart of the mother streaming in from inside. Together we rise, together we rise. We rise as one love, the pearl, the stargate, the crown, the roots, the center, all rising now, Shiva and Shakti, love and devotion, energy and motion from zero still point. The words in the silence, the light at the void, calling and singing, spread your wings and take flight. Merkaba, toroidal fields, Taurus, the blue-ray empaths, the blue-ray transmissions, white light, Christic consciousness, empathic sensitivities, grid workers and transformers, bringing rebirth through and forth through her love, grace, intuition, devotion, empathy, inner wisdom, new sensory experiences, inner knowing, clarity and breakthroughs are coming, so be. Rejuvenation, revisions, regeneration, rewiring and we-wiring, holding and anchoring higher vibrations through our natural authentic frequencies. Our hearts are our treasured treasures, and we are all so very dearly loved and received through her heart, through the one true being. Being true, being full, being born again, free, being love, being whole, dreaming being, being dreamed, dreaming our being's dream into our realities. Well, I was a busy beaver today, bouncing all around and back and forth through the house, making all the iced teas, lemon waters, and fruit punch and things for tomorrow's revelries. I'm feeling a bit nervous, but more excited than anything. I'm willing to just show up and allow me and we to be just as we are and as we get to be. So there is a bit of confusion, and the other side is clarity. So it is a great time for the gift of rest and retreat. Not really sure what I need, but I know everything is supported right now, and I have a fully beautiful and bright support team, seen and unseen, helping, guiding, and assisting me. So thank you, love, from me. So relax and enjoy playing, me being me. Have fun, live in joy, be myself, love myself. I am loved, I am worthy, I am enough, I am enough. I am always loved, received, worthy of being all this love that I am, and I get to be. All this love, all this beauty, all this fertility, all this wisdom, all this knowing, all this magic we be. Let it unfold and let it all be. Listen, be present, have fun, live and play. Remember, it's all a play of love, all her ways. This is October 16th. Parallel structures, counter-economics, sacred ecology. Decentralization, autonomy, freedom, creativity, and accountability. There is no such thing as a benevolent dictator. The tyrant is a tyrant is a tyrant is a tyrant, and totalitarianism is total control by the state. Statism, scientism, moralism, neo-feudalism, Marxism, communism, and habitalism, schisms, blind, deaf, and dumb, entranced, entrained, hypnotic state, alpha wave, mind-controlled slave state. Oh, depression, you say. Don't worry your dear little head about that. We have a microchip to implant into your brain. Don't listen to your feelings. You can manipulate and dominate the body and bypass the natural processes so you can do it our way. 1984 in Brave New World dystopian realities. Nothing to see, nothing to see. Just keep spiritually bypassing and it will all just magically go away. Don't face and confront or acknowledge what's not working. Just take these prescriptions and go back to sleep, okay? Cognitive dissonance, ego flattery, hijacked emotions and sheep mentality, Stockholm syndrome and fear and abstracting, pride, greed, envy, shame, and jealousy, emotional, mental, spiritual disease, rejected and manifested as the reality we see. He who looks within awakens, and he who looks outside dreams. OMG, such good reminders for me to alchemize hostility and emotional wounding through compassion, mercy, empathy, kindness, grace, and honesty, a sense of humor and acceptance, forgiveness, willingness, receptivity, compassion and love, faith, trust, humility, compassion is key to raise the higher frequencies and open to love and miracles presently unfolding through God, Goddess, and we. A lovely, heartfelt, fun, and wonderful day yesterday of celebration, revelry, happiness, friends, and family, to welcome new life and a new baby. Yeah, new granddaughter. You are so loved always. Thank you, angels of mercy and compassion, prosperity and grace. Thank you, love, for family and all of God's good things, all of life's good things. Focused attention, healing the heart, building the bridge, balance and harmony, communication, love and compassion, trust, faith, and grace, gentle strength and potency, facing my challenges, accepting me and we, gratitude and appreciation, practice and play, forgiveness, allowance, and the freedom to be, power and wisdom, responsibility, blessings and acknowledgement, accountability, clarity, grounding, making amends, epic reconciliations, and continual surrendering. Let go with love and be free, shining being. And so, some of the animal companions that were helping me with my integration, letting go, patience, and clarity. Skunk, salmon, crow, turtle, badger, groundhog, bear, frog, alligator, moose, butterfly, wolf, beaver, horse, dragonfly, the cock, gorilla, ant, coyote, lion, and cat and dog. Yeah, those are just a few. Yeah, and they're always, always, always teaching me and helping me and assisting me and showing me and supporting and, showing up in relationship for and with me and through me. And so I always super appreciate all of these visitations, whether they're spiritual, energetic, or physical visitations of my animal companions. And I super love and appreciate them, and I bless them, and I praise them, and I thank them. Thank you. All. Thank you. Like to the web, to the beautiful world, of creation. This web of creation, this web of life. all she holds within her. So I have so much compassion for myself and for all the parts of myself that have felt abandoned, unloved, and unworthy. I have so much compassion for all who have felt this and have experienced these feelings of rejection, isolation, desolation, despair, and loneliness. Pain, heartache. All those who have felt utterly alone, lost, confused, abandoned, and forgotten. I love you, and I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Empathy, forgiveness, and humility, gratitude, generosity, faith, strength, and grace. And that's huge. It's like one of my core wounds is abandonment and betrayal. Losing myself and selling myself and giving away my power so that I could have a sense of self or some kind of a place or a safe place within the tribe and the family unit. And so sometimes I would go against myself in order to survive. But there were certain times, and there have been certain times, that I just couldn't. And it just, my soul wouldn't allow me to comply with that, no matter what the consequences were. And so, I haven't been a stranger to being the outsider, to filling and playing that role of the outsider. And I have not been a stranger to that martyr role and that whore and that rebel. And so, I think all those parts of myself that helped me learn to know who I really am. Who I really am. So, did a meditation like around the full moon, and I took some notes, and it was really cool because it does have to do a lot with the Tree of Life, and it has to do with the Book of Law as well, and that's been coming up a lot for me. And so the Book of Light and the Book of Light, the Book of Laws, the Book of Creation, the mother and the child, devotion, compassion and tenderness, the Father and his infinite eternal love and unconditional acceptance, the luminous child, the heart of the sun, DNA activations, unlocking, unfolding, unfurling, returning, rerouting, rerouting, descending, ascending, transcending, transcending, transcending. Healing, revealing, awakening, remembering, welcome home. It has always been you. New beginnings and endings, continuity, expansion, contraction, and novelty. I had a hard time sleeping last night because of my cough and cold, weird energy surges, and a strange pull to go inward, but to also go outward and act. So some of me wants to nest and rest, and some of me wants to do something and be active, receptive, and active. A great plant ally right now is rose. Rose reconnects us with our core selves, even when we're feeling tense and stressed. So that's kind of awesome. Yeah, the spirit of the rose. And rose is a plant ally and a medicine. And so this was something that I watched, or I just came into my inbox in my email last week. And I did speak about it on that 2-hour video that didn't end up working. But Rebecca Altman, who's an herbalist, says she loves connecting people to the earth, to plants, to each other, and to themselves. The underlying purpose behind all of her work is to help people remember the wholeness of their being. I have started to think of rose as a plant that reconnects us with our heart, with the heart of who we are. And it sort of relaxes the part of us that we hold so tightly that prevents us from reconnecting with our heart selves. The reason I think that it often brings such a deep emotional reaction is that what people are feeling is themselves. Yeah. And so sometimes it's like I can, witness like some kind of past traumatic event in my mental streams, or I'm just taken back through that fountain of memory or that river and transported back through time. And when I see that wounded aspect of myself, or the trauma that happened, or an injury of some kind. And then it all kind of floods back in, and it brings that back in, and it helps me remember, like, that we've all suffered, you know, and that the things that I've been through that have hurt so much, like, has taught me so much compassion. But yeah, and I started to offer that compassion to myself a couple years ago, and called on Kuan Yin, Avalokitesvara, and the goddess of compassion. This beautiful, beautiful being that holds compassion for all beings. And it's a chant that I got to practice for a couple years, you know, was one of my favorites that I love to sing as well. It's Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, calling on Kuan Yin for that compassion. And this chant actually can be chanted for ourselves, for each other, and for the planet. And it does fill the envelope of consciousness with that compassion and that awareness of compassion and that love and mercy and kindness and empathy for all beings who are suffering and who have suffered. So Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. 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 Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. Yeah, Namo Kuan Yin Pusa. So yeah, that song has come out in several different melodies and in several different ways over the years, and I love every single one and every way that one gets to be expressed, and it's different every time. And so yeah, there are like certain rhythms and certain tunes that do come in with that chant, but yeah, it's just kind of fun how it is a living language and it is a living light and a living consciousness, that can be experienced, expressed, and received and embodied. And so that's the fun thing about these things. It's not just an idea, it's a living thing. And so it's kind of interesting to see that in multidimensional ways and in seen and unseen ways. And so, Namaste. 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And that's attributed to Buddha. And now we're in Scorpio season. And I was just watching a couple days ago a podcast on Molly McCord's channel talking about the astrology and the astrological energies and the dance of the planets, the dance of the heavens right now. And that was kind of interesting because there were certain things that were coming up in the last little while, as they always do. That did show me what this anger and this hostility that was welling up within me. It did have to do with some different transits that were happening and different like squares that were happening between certain celestial bodies. And I do remember like hearing before that, like, watch out for this day, this one day, this week, or this like window of time. This one will be like some oppositional, defiant kind of stuff. So just watch, just be mindful, like watch the reactions and responses that we have and all of that, because yeah, some things may come up and it may like cause us some problems if we get a little bit too rigid, And so I thought that was really funny. Yeah, because of the things that were coming up for me. They were really actually funny, and when I looked back in hindsight, I was just like, oh my gosh, there it is. There was that there was that oppositional defiance feeling, like that knee-jerk reaction, like, don't tell me how to live my life, like, it was just really, really awesome and funny, just being aware of it and seeing it play out with the lens of the neutral witness and choosing to be aware. And so, this is kind of funny. But the light of Scorpio reveals the depths of the human psyche and the ability to go beyond what the eyes can see. Scorpio dives deep into the unknown with the goal of discovering greater authenticity and truth. Scorpio light is resourceful and passionate, motivated by the urge to live with honesty at any cost and explore the full extent of emotional experiences. And that's from Molly McCord on Conscious Scorpio Energy. And that was from the Weekly Intuitive Astrology from October 20th through the 27th. And so I had written, I'm ready to let go of disappointments and expectations, old beliefs, ancient and recent resentments. What do I get to send and receive instead? What do I get to focus and choose to contribute to create, synthesize, and blend? And so I realized in certain ways how I'd been keeping myself busy to avoid certain things. And it was really great because, it like my own words had planted a seed and my own actions had planted a seed for me to receive. And it was like from a board that I had made a couple months ago, and I had just added this quote that said, feeling the need to be busy all the time is a trauma-based response to avoid what we need to confront if we actually were still with ourselves and felt what we needed to feel. And like, it's just kind of funny because I'm aware of like those strategies that I have and those distractions and things, and I have done a lot of work around those things like for the last 5 years. Especially like, certain addictions or replacements or substitutions or surrogates, such as social media and whatnot. That was a huge, huge, huge distraction and, time suck. And so now that it's been over a year, now it's almost been 13 months since I've been off of Facebook and, away from social media and connecting in those types of ways, I've been able to reconnect with myself and come back home to me. And it's really, really awesome because it was kind of predicted in my dream that I had, this really potent, amazing dream that I had in March 1st of 2020. And I titled it Anger is Medicine. And it was all about like all of these things, me trying to run around and please everyone and just take care of everyone, doing the shadow caregiver thing or the rescuer thing, being the martyr, being Atlas and taking care of everything for everyone, and like almost like the tired mother who hasn't been able to sleep and take care of her own needs, and so she has all that built up shame, guilt, resentment for everything, and is unable to take care of her own needs and all of those things. And so it is kind of interesting to look at in hindsight at some of these things like that have played out and have unfolded and unraveled through time, through this recent time. And so I was contemplating being busy all the time as a trauma-based response. something along those lines. The quote on my artboard that I shared recently, and I haven't even watched, so only the first few minutes, just to make sure the sound was working. So, and, oh yes, and April 22nd of 2020, I started sharing my alchemical play practice videos, and now I'm at 199 in my playlist, and this will be 200. This will be number 200. And so I'm complete with this. 18 months and 199 videos in that epic playlist is a milestone and a gift. Wayshower, healer, light keeper, highly sensitive, empathic, intuitive, compassionate, loving, kind, gentle, and strong. Funny, silly, lighthearted, playful, joyful, jovial, friendly, disarming, sometimes very awkwardly charming, peaceful, soulful, quiet, and resourceful, but social and prone to chattering, rambling nervously, trying to tell my stories, to justify me, to prove that I am worthy, that I have value, and I am capable, or able, responsible, perceptive, and intelligent, humorous, and classy. Teehee, I just had to include that somewhere in this stream. Some of me wants to get polished, refined, streamlined, concise, cutting through the loopholes and the nonsense and the dribble, get right to the point, the heart of the matter, and the huge-ass elephant in the room. The demonization and alienation, the condemnation of a whole group of human beings, and the stages of genocide and blind obedience to false structures of inverted totalitarian external authority and control. Yeah, and so that is what, the main thing that I haven't really been able to talk about because of, self-censoring and then worrying about, certain things about what can I say, what am I allowed to say, and, why wouldn't I be allowed to say that, or why wouldn't I be allowed, and that was, like, another beef of mine, was, like, why am I never allowed to do this or do that? And I give so much allowance to everyone else to, like, to have their moments and whatnot. Like, why am I the one that, always has to hold my shit together or hold it together for everyone else, Like, why can't I make mistakes? Why can't I, like, like, be forgiven for, just, like, little things. And it's just, like, such bullshit. And, like, some of those projections, they're not even mine, but some of them are, because they were my own impossible, unrealistic standards of perfection and my expectations that I had for myself. And so, just looking at those things and ready to let those things go. But, with the mind control and everything, it's been, like, super challenging to even know where to begin in certain ways. Like, but this isn't anything new to me. I've been looking into certain things for over a decade now, and some of it is just like, doesn't everyone know that? But I guess, like, it's kind of funny. Not everything that I'm aware of is widely known, like, collectively, anyways. And so, like, there's just certain basic things that I thought, like, everybody's aware of that, aren't they? Like, seriously, in certain ways. Or did we kind of, like, change our minds that, like, these institutions are trustworthy all of a sudden, like, because we're depending on them for our lives or something, because they've terrorized us and now they're the good guys, so it's like Stockholm syndrome and certain things, and just, like, denial, like, total denial that there's any corruption at all, like, in these certain industries and structures and systems of this inverted reality. And it's just like, please open your eyes and see what hasn't been working, But it's like, sometimes, that just happens in its own time. where, yeah, people have their own time, their own time to awaken to what they need to. And so it's just like, well, all right. So whatever they choose to see about me, that's what, yeah, they get to see. And so it's like not up to me to manage how others choose to see, perceive, or receive me. And that was something that like I started working on like 5 years ago. And it's just like come back full circle. Oh yeah, that's right. And that's like one of the old patterns and programs that I've been dissolving, is worrying so much about like, well, if they think this or they believe that, how are they going to see me then? And so like, almost needing to do my own like covert manipulations so that they see me as right and they don't see me as the wrong one, or yeah, the delusional one or whatever that is. So it is kind of funny and interesting, like that defense, like being in that defensiveness where there is like stuff like I feel I need to hide or whatever, or I won't be accepted, or I'll be judged, condemned, and tried, like on trial and executed, yeah, by a jury of my peers. So it is kind of funny, like where we are all like that judge, that victim, that jury and executioner, and God's the one that's always on trial. And so I did want to share like the 10 Stages of Genocide. There was a book by Dr. Gregory Stanton, and he goes through all of these steps of the 10 Stages of Genocide. And we can actually see all of these stages playing out right now on the outer stage. But a lot of people, their eyes are closed, yeah, to these things and to making those connections and making those parallels. And so it is disturbing in a lot of ways, but I understand like how the cognitive dissonance works, and yeah, how it is a part of this phenomenon called mass formation, which was really interesting to listen to. I'm going to put a video link in the description box to a podcast I saw last week, and I watched it twice because it was exactly what I needed. Like, it was the missing pieces, like, for me to reconcile this, like, because I just didn't understand, like, how, like, obviously contradictory beliefs could be held, and by myself and others. And so it was so informative, and it did help me connect some dots, and I'm really super grateful that I was able to receive that, and that there are people speaking about, what's happening right now. And it is all about, domination, control, and divide and conquer strategies. And this is how it's always worked. The same formulas are always used, but yeah, we're just always kind of attached to certain different identities and stories, and so we haven't been able to see through the ruse, So another thing that I'm going to choose not to take personally, it's actually pretty silly, and it feels like my ego wants to indulge a little bit in self-pity. Yeah. But yeah, it's just sad sometimes when I think like someone isn't happy with me, or someone doesn't like me, and like that's the worst thing that in the world that could ever happen, like that someone's not pleased with me, or yeah, and I didn't please someone, and like I always felt like there was something to make up for or something, yeah. And so it's so funny. Yeah, so it was really always hard for me to like stand up and say no to somebody, unless it was just something, yeah, that was obviously super ridiculous, and it was just like, nah, that's okay, I'm good, fuck off, But if it was somebody that I really, really wanted to please, or like I would kind of let those boundaries be easily dishonored and crossed, and to where there actually were no more boundaries, like where I didn't have any boundaries, like in certain ways, when it came to certain people. And so, yeah, it's been tricky, yeah, to restructure and reform my own boundaries. And yeah, and that was part of my resistance, to having structure as well, because structure always seems so rigid to me. And so, but there's a lot to be said about having a container and knowing our own limitations, and knowing certain limitations are right for us to have at certain times and in certain phases and stages of our growth in our lives. And yeah, and then those actually can change, and because of our growth, sometimes our boundaries do need to change because we've expanded and changed as well. And so, yeah, it's just a continual process and continual learning. So I needed their approval or validation. And and this is still like something I'm working on, but like, yeah, I really don't need it as much. And I'm actually really seeing that, that I'm okay and I am enough. And so, yeah, just allow the process. Things are going to shake themselves right the fuck up. And so I'm willing to get out of my own way, let the ego rest and the dream body play. Okay, fucking A, wake up and just play. Individualism, individuation, indivisibility. Proactive, honoring the self within the collective and the collective within the self, for me and we. Exaggerated tension and passive-aggressive energies, Mars in Libra and Pluto, Capricorn, serious issues with power and control. Remember the song within your own heart. Tolerance, diversity, expression, balance, passion, transparency, change, and strength. Liberation, freedom, receptivity, loyalty, healing. Truth frees the heart. Generosity, spontaneity, joy, love, awareness, openness, faith, kindness, grace, trust, and inner peace. Simplicity, wisdom, and clarity, courage, dedication, devotion, forgiveness, mercy, and empathy. The play of consciousness, surrender, bless, and release. So what do I need to dissolve and release to be in true harmony with myself and the loved ones in relationship with me? So old beliefs and inverted programs, the old programming and the old operating system, upgrading to a new way of being, whole, true, free, and fully me, authentic and soulful being. Trust the process, the path, the power, and the source, the spark, the light, the journey, and all the love. Here's to love and all I love, all this love always. The cleansing fires and the cleansing cooling waters of purification, transformation, unification, harmony. Here's a good idea. Be aware of your state of awareness. And it reminded me of a silly song in The Big Lebowski of I just checked in to see what condition my condition was in. So it was just, it was fun little things. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow loris, slow turtle, slow snail, slow sloth, slow down, slow down, slow down. It's okay not to do anything. Let go of doing anything at all. Just slow down and be here right now. And so I did like some investigating with some certain things I was curious about, and just for fun and play and pleasure and joy, and curiosity's sake. And also just following my nudges and my impulses and my intuition and my inner knowing, and choosing to wake up and play and just practice and be here, okay? And so, because it really is okay. And I did want to share a little bit about the mass formation phenomenon that I got to watch, and it really did help me. It super helped me. Like, it was like the last like puzzle piece of like, okay, I can understand this and I can let this go now. And and so, and I know it's not personal, and I know it's not like, a personal rejection against me. I know it's about fear, and I know it's about like ego flattery and ego identity and attachments and rigidities, and being stuck in our comfort zones, or not willing to like stretch those comfort zones, an unwillingness to stretch those comfort zones. But that has nothing to do with me, because I get to be responsible for what I get to choose for me, and everyone else gets to own their own energy and the choices that they make. And so that's a good freeing up of energy, where everyone owns themselves and everyone is capable of taking care of themselves. Yes, we all do need help sometimes, but yeah, it's like knowing like that, like everyone has free will and free choice. And so yeah, whether or not we see that or not, or we've claimed that or not, it is what it is. So sometimes living on this planet or in this false matrix feels like a gigantic mind fuck because of the heart split, the heart-mind split, the internal division, the schizophrenic conditioning, programming, mind manipulation, and superimposed psychic fences. It's easier to accept now in certain ways that it is menticide, the killing of the mind, and fear of poisoned, usurped minds, the hypnotized masses, a mass formation, mass psychosis, and absurd lies. Fear is the mind killer, the little death, the illusion of separateness, and a priori complexes, and free-floating fear, anxiety to external objects and threats. Constant anxiety that at any moment threatens to turn into hysteria or hysterical mass panic and mob mentality antics, and it's really not at all personal. It's mental and emotional illness and imbalance, and the collapse of the big old lie, a lack and poverty, powerlessness, consciousness. Yeah, that we're helpless, the victim hero mentality. But some will follow the experiment to its end, to its violent end, through self-destructive obsession. These violent delights have violent ends. Yes. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. So the 4 conditions that actually contribute to creating a mass formation, which is the collective hypnosis, where the masses are in a delusional fantasy, and they are being mind controlled and steered and influenced unconsciously, and sometimes even consciously. And so the 4 conditions that help to create that mass formations, they were already in place, and they've been in place for a long time with how society has been engineered to operate. And so one of those conditions is a lack of a social bond and a social cohesion, a lack of intimacy. So it's like built on like that social isolation, loneliness, and disconnection, lack of community. And so I feel like a lot of us know what that feels like, and especially like with the introduction of like social media and things like that, where it has disconnected us in a lot of ways. And we already, like, for the last how many generations have been disconnected from like the land, from the, something as simple as seeing the stars at night and orienting ourselves to nature and everything. So disconnected from nature and disconnected from our hearts, disconnected from ourselves and from our true divine minds in certain ways. So obviously, number 1, that's been there for a long time, a lack of social bonding and social cohesion. Now we can still be involved in like different groups and things like that, and feel like we can make social connections and stuff in those ways. But those are actually really different in certain ways than what, how we're built to operate as these living lights and parts of the whole of creation. But maybe that will be, expanded upon. And number 2, another condition that's needed for this mass formation to take place, a lack of purpose and no meaning. And so that's like disengagement and apathy. There's no interest in life or in what we're actually doing, interest in our own lives. And so we spend a lot of time being entertained rather than like celebrating and engaging in life. And so like that's been a thing for a long time, especially like, you know, with our dependence on our screens and our television and our shows and our stories, you know. So a lack of social bond, and like also like how like the corporate world has been structured and everything, where people used to be really connected to the work that they did, and they believed in what they did and what they were contributing to their community. And now like the workforce and stuff has changed in a lot of ways, where it has become like this centralized beast, you know, this for the consumer mentality. And a lot of people, yeah, they do not have like a meaningful purpose in their jobs or in their lives, and they just feel like they're walking through life asleep or half asleep, and it's like The Walking Dead. And so like that's how a lot of apathy, like that's the opposite of love, is that apathy, no interest and no care about things, because everything's so overwhelming, you know. And so that's a condition that was very, very ripe. And the next condition is free-floating anxiety and terror, and that's instability. And the discontent, like constant discontent, where we never really feel okay, and we're always in that sympathetic nervous response of fight or flight and everything. So it is like a lot of anxiety and terror. And that's been happening like, it's been amplified to the nth degree since 2001, really, since the war on terror and whatnot. So anyways, yeah, we can see that, like, all of these conditions, have been in place, and then actually have been amplified to the nth degree with, like, all of the other stories of fear this and fear for your life and all of that. So number 4 is frustration, aggression, and the tinderbox strategies, the problem, reaction, solution, inverted ideologies. The more absurd the lies, the more fervently the lies are reinforced and believed, forming a new identity and operating system, total control, and a heroic struggle. Yeah, so the society is involved in a heroic struggle, and a new social bonds are formed for this new kind of community, this new way of being, this new normality. And so that was interesting to see that. So this herd mentality, like this new herd mentality, can go along with everything. So this is a recipe for tragic disaster and mass genocide, totalitarian regimes and atrocities, crimes against life and humanity. And then, when the smoke clears, the order followers left alive are shaken and confused with deer-in-the-headlights attitudes. We were just following orders, and maybe seeing or not seeing into their responsibility and accountability in giving their power to this false inverted authority, and how they played their parts, consciously and unconsciously, to rid themselves and life of the object of their insecurity, their anxiety, their fear, and self-loathing. So it's like, so super interesting, where there's a projection that's flung upon something else. Like, let's say there's a scapegoat, and we know who the scapegoats are right now. Yeah, and the boogeymen are right now, and the new boogeymen are right now. So that's the object of their anxiety and fear and self-loathing, and they need to destroy that object of their anxiety at any cost. And and that's like a part of the psychosis. So this is rejection, denial, and hate, fear, and pride, self-righteousness, avoidance, and projection for self-preservation through domination, manipulation, and totalitarian control. This is the mass psychosis menticide. So this is about why people willingly give up their own life or their own freedoms. And this professor is coming out with a book soon, and his name is Matthias Desmet. And so I'll put that link in there. So mass formation is a type of collective hypnosis essential for the rise of totalitarian regimes, an unconscious psychological process. How does it emerge? The four ripe conditions and the scapegoat. Yeah, the presently chosen scapegoat. So the fear-based need to destroy and eliminate the object of anxiety, the external threat, the problem child, and the enemy, the source of discomfort, fear, insecurity, and dis-ease. Mass formation always requires new victims and a larger pool of scapegoats, escalated frenzy and fervor, degradation and degeneration of the mind, menticide. And so it doesn't always start out with like the original scapegoat and the original boogeyman, but they just keep turning the corners and pointing out, oh, now we got to get rid of this guy, now we got to get rid of this guy, until it's like that poem. So first they came for the Jews, and then they came for the trade unionists, and then they came for me, but there was no one left to stand up for me. Yeah, all of those things. And so I just really would like to bring awareness to some of these parallels and help to bring the light of awareness into what is and potentially unfolding, or what certain groups would like to see happen, and through this manipulation of human beings, through the killing of the mind, menticide, anti-life, inversion of life, reversal, distortions, myths, stories, and lies. Question and examine the official narrative and the only right side. Storylines, look into the formula and the recipe to further control, conquer, kill, and divide the mind, and all that is sacred in life. Good people participating and supporting genocide ignorantly. So what is the remedy for healing and revealing, penetrating the illusion of this old tired story, these old patterns of polarized division, fragmentation, usurpation, separation, and mind control, schizophrenic compartmentalization, and disassociation? So knowledge is power, and knowing that we are powerful helps a lot too. Love, cooperation, empathy, and unity, being one at peace, an open-hearted willingness to trust and let go of ego control. Let go of attachments and the false self-image, superimposed, false authority roles, knowing all is connected and a legit part of the whole. Coherence and liberty, we are all leaders and we are all followers. We are all creators, artists, and imitators. We are all ignorant sheep and wise fools, playing, pretending, forgetting, remembering. Let go of self-importance and self-imposed limitations, rigid thinking, and lower ego mental rules. Surrender, open, and suspend. Let go of all I think I am. Let go and welcome truth. Forgive, accept, acknowledge, release. I surrender the need to know. Surrendering ego control, embracing the I don't know. And everyone is winging it, no matter how wise, foolish, young or old, polished, refined, or wild. Nothing is in control, but we are in charge of our own energy if we choose to engage and let go. So, let the ego rest and the dream body take control. So, now that I feel I understand a little bit more around the collective hypnosis and the mass formation, the mass psychosis of the collective, it's a bit easier to accept the madness and their eager willingness to accept the absurdities being parroted by the control mechanisms, the media, the priestly celeb personalities, and the false structures of authority. Yeah, the control mechanisms of the state. So I'm not feeling as persecuted or as angry, with my peers, friends, and family. It's easier to accept that they're just caught up in a spell of entrancement, even if it is blinders of their own making, because some parts of themselves have agreed to buy into the stories, myths, and beliefs, programs, and conditioning of this inverted state of false reality. We have all been lost, confused, disconnected, anxious, frustrated, terrified, traumatized, hypnotized, reactive, defensive, desperate, and locked into a heroic struggle to self-preserve and survive, a tug-of-war inside. Unconsciously battling with our own inner fears, skeletons, psychic orphans, and demons, trapped in a nightmare that we are determined to end at any cost. And we may be so narrowly focused on the object of our anxiety that we cannot see, or we are not aware of the harm that we have done or are doing, the deceptive behaviors, the actions and deeds that we are being encouraged to follow, model, and imitate. Adopting these new measures of control, they only see their own goals to destroy the source of their anxiety, to create a normality, a false sense of external control. The ends justify the means, and this is the slippery slope, for they cannot see and they do not know how they are being used for a deliberate genocidal goal, unwitting tools of the state, of this inverted anti-life, archontic deception death cult, through false idols, false images, false ideals, reversals, projections, distortions, distractions, manipulations, deception, corruption, and mind control. They can't see it, they won't see it, and they refuse to consider their roles. And so I can allow them, to just be where they're at. And I just get to take charge of my own life and my own choices and what I want to create, and focus my own energy and my own attention. That's my power to create. It's what I am paying attention to. And so, it's less about what other people are choosing, even though it is kind of like, oh, what's going on out there? And it's like, it's a train wreck, It's just like, yeah, okay. I mean, but it is like, it's concern for well-being. And it's like, I do want to speak up, and I do want to call out some of these things, not out of vengeance or a sense of self-righteousness, but just to bring awareness, and so that the possibility of healing can be available and accessible. And it really is. And so for those who are willing to seek and to see, they will see and receive. Ask and ye shall receive. And so how their own addiction stories and attachments keep them bound and dependent to their own heroic struggle to avoid pain, death, disease, and suffering. They deny, they reject, and eliminate everything that doesn't fit into their own stories. Yeah, that's why they always need another martyr, villain, victim, scapegoat to blame, to judge, destroy, and condemn, and the sinful one against. So choose to see through the impersonal lens of the neutral witness, and you will begin to understand what is and what has been. And so, it's just like making new agreements. I get to choose who I am. Nobody else gets to tell me that. And so, oh man, Scorpio, the sun in Scorpio is intense as fuck so far. Holy motherfucking shit. Shadows being illuminated and revelations coming into the light. Death and rebirth. Yeah, make friends with discomfort and the unknown. All things transform. Scorpio, Eagle, Phoenix. Metamorphosis, transformation, transmutation, regeneration, transfiguration, individuation. Alchemy, introspection, connection, reflections. All my relations. There's a Medusa, little sadhana coming up on the Awakening Women's Institute that I saw last week, and I was like, oh, that's so perfect right now for me, because I had like a little story and some archetypal Medusa themes come in for me this last month, and so now that's being offered, and I was like, well, that's a wink wink for me to receive. And so I'm going to join that Medusa sadhana. And so expansion and evolution, renewed, wider perceptions, renewed vision, clear precision, inspired passion, willingness to stand naked, stripped bare, dying the shaman's death, meeting ourselves through the word of the opponent, blessing the beauty that helps us to grow, change, and let go, open water, flow, medicine of fire, dance, let go, masculine and feminine, death, life, rebirth, and the luminous child. Magic, surprise, delight, wonder, awe, enchantment, joy, flow, play, being, appreciation, gratitude, humility, trust, and truth. The magical child, magical world, magical life. Fucking A, I fucked on off today, LOL, so I just kind of did what I felt like and I wanted to do, and I was just open and allowing and receptive, curious to, observing, reflective, and accepting of what comes up and unfolds in and through my mental streams, thoughts, stories, feelings, perceptions, and of course my interactions and relationships. Listening and receiving, being willing, being here, feeling loved, love always. There is always something to love and feel grateful for. I feel lighter and brighter in every way than I did the day before. And it feels so good to share love and care with others that I love and care for and love to care for. Offering love, nourishment, kind words, heartfelt thanks and encouragement, appreciation, and joy. Well, it has been an interesting and restful kind of week. I'm feeling good, feeling well, feeling better, feeling held, feeling supported, feeling loved, feeling peaceful, feeling love, feeling hopeful, feeling content, feeling excited, feeling faithful, feeling the fire under my bum to get moving right along, to go where I am being nudged and guided. And so, what haven't I been able to say? What haven't I been able to say? What is it I need to say? What is it that needs to be heard? And what does my soul's voice have to say? To step out of my comfort zone, to free me fully. Trust. This life. Trust my life, trust myself, and trust my voice. And I am willing. So thank you, wise teachers, living creatures, all parts of the web, all parts of Creator, all parts of the Mother, all parts of the web, the whole, the circle, the threads, all threads of creation, each life, each living part of her web. Her womb, her brew, and Hebrew, LOL. Heb, oh yes please, coyote, play with me. Butterfly, whale, dolphin, dragonfly, owl, frog, bat, cow, goat, crow, alligator, bear, swan, lizard, snake, spider, eagle, medicine, scorpion, bee, koala, koi, skunk, deer, monkey, salmon, turtle, badger, wild boar, medicine, turkey, buffalo, rooster and chicken, pig, dog, cat, porcupine, medicine, elk, raven, dove, vulture, condor, medicine, mountain lion, tiger, phoenix, dragon, medicine. And that was on the 27th. And so, after I was finished doing my last video, I thought about all of these things, and I wanted to come back here again and just do another one, because it was I left out all of these things. And so it was just kind of writing on the 28th. I want to share another one and include some reviews, some new stories and insights, new agreements. I can only share what I see or how I see things. I cannot convince anyone of anything. It is possible to persuade, but I would rather engage and play and contribute to whole new ways of being that serve oneness, fullness, and diversity, that honor the wholeness of the whole and the perfection of all God's things, all living beings. So planting seeds, sharing about the peace I've made within myself to be free, my realizations, my activations, my choices to transform, grow, and change. Love, forgiveness, creativity, courage, faith, devotion, surrender, mercy, and grace, compassion and empathy, trust, allowance, acceptance, willingness, humility, and strength. So there were certain podcasts and messengers, light warriors, mediums and players, archetypal themes, and opportunities and streams relating to psychological processes and previously unseen parts of the psyche and reality. Healing, revealing, illuminating the previously unseen, and how it relates to personal power, the power of choice, and the freedom to be, to honor integrity, personal responsibility, clarity, accountability, and vitality, space, growth, and learning. The phenomenon of mass formation, also GSF, AD behavior, alchemy, shadow work, and natural cooperation and harmony. How totalitarian systems operate, and transforming our reality, shape-shifting from within and without. Medusa and the Dark Goddess and all the myths, the wisdom of creation, all the creation myths and wisdom. My sacred path cards, the synchronicities I've had with those, inspiration, wisdom, and folly. The 10 stages of genocide, myth, stories, illusions, and lies, changing our own minds, reclaiming our own lives, mastering our own minds, mastering the basics, spiritual practice to love, live, enjoy, and play life. The game of life, the gift of life, the tree of life. What do we value and what really matters in life? Is our focus aligned with all we get to appreciate, create, and regenerate? all that we love and value. The torus, the toroidal fields, the rainbow bodies of light, electricity, magnetism, electromagnetic energy, sound and healing frequencies, portals, wheels, the spiral, the double helix, and sacred geometry, the elements, angels, and each part of the whole. There is no separation. Creator and creation. All is one. Magic, awe, enchantment, and joy, love, inspiration, divine communication, and responsibility. The power to act, the power to choose, the power to engage. Focus, attend, be, and create, allowing the wisdom to emerge and be revealed through the unfolding of itself. Sophia and cornucopia, tuning forks, rods, divine anchors, purity, innocence, love, wildness, authenticity, and beauty. Creativity, discovery, joyful, playful, empowered beings, uplifting, raising, holding space, and trusting that all that is will be, and it is all it needs and gets to be. Allow room for change and let the old die. Allow and fall away. Be whole. The too narrow focus and the straw analogy. Beliefs as possessions, attachments, identities, commodities, badges of honor, status, and self-importance, pride, greed, and vanity, insecurity, certainty that is rigid, hostility, fear, fixated hope, desire, and tyranny, fanaticism and moralism, coercion, ignorance, blind obedience. Or the courage and willingness to go within and question everything. Yes, questioning, examining, confronting, listening, challenging, opening, softening, considering, trusting, being willing, letting go, surrendering, and dropping the robes, non-attachment, and higher discrimination. Focus on uplifting, inspiring, empowering, educating, offering, connecting, teaching, learning, growing, loving and serving, living, experiencing, being and creating, reflecting and projecting all I love and want to see. Promote unity, cooperation, creativity, authenticity, diversity, maturity. Uplift and inspire rather than destroy, reject, or fight, or try to take down, bring down, tear down anyone else, or judge, condemn, what they think or believe or perceive, what they choose for themselves or how they need to be. Let the ego rest, be the gatekeeper for consciousness, and allow the dream body to act. Listen, follow, and trust intuition, the body's wisdom, instincts, inner knowing, guidance, divine help, love's flow, and this process of ascension, the goddess and her mansions, her holy temple vessel, the soul, life, self, the whole, source. All. The all. Be honest with myself and aware of my choices and actions, not out of fear, but out of love, care, and accountability. I don't need to be perfect, no siree. Just be whole, true, and authentic, full, free, loving, willing, present, transparency, stripped bare, not clinging to anything, knowing it's all here and it all gets to recirculate, change, grow, morph, or transform through interchange, interplay, or exchange. Surrendering, offering, giving back, blessing, releasing, valuing, honoring, appreciating, regenerating, participating, creating, changing, transforming, sharing, giving, receiving, dropping the robes, and standing in the sunshine. Rooting deeply into the mother tree, the red robes, the shaman's death, Siberian shaman's colors, Yuletide and mistletoe, Father Christmas and Mother Reindeer. Little Red Riding Hood, that myth has been coming up for me the last month or two. Little Red Riding Hood and gaslighting metaphors, cognitive dissonance and instinct injury, tricking and deceiving. The second guessing ourselves, self-doubt, mistrust, denial, and naivety. Innocence lost and then found. She is saved by the woodsman, another archetype with an axe. He who cuts open the wolf's stomach and saves her before she's digested. Maybe in some versions of the story he also chops off the wolf's head, and there are 3 who emerge from inside of the wolf. So be aware of wolves in sheep clothing. The consequences are severe. They can be severe. And the story of the 2 wolves within, which one is stronger and which one is being fed. I am not a victim, and we are not victims, although we have been traumatized, betrayed, and lied to. All the signs were there, all the red flags apparent, all the abuse, all the disrespect, all the undermining, all the gaslighting, all the shamelessness, the codependent and the narcissist dynamics. The toxic push and pull power struggles. that waste energy, that leak creative energy, the passive aggressive, the manic depressive, the hyper reflective, the con man, the trickster, the nitpicker detective, the hypochondriac, and the super obsessive possessive tyrant. The super ego, the addict, the victim, the whore, the drama queen, the saboteur, the epicure. So let go. Come back to the present, back to beginner's mind, and center the unborn mind of Buddha, the fool, the 0 point. To the now, the present moment, through gratitude, love enters. See the past as a gift and a lesson. See the present as my creation. See the future as inspiration. Let it flow and let it go. Gratitude, freedom, letting go, and blessing. Thanking, praising, receiving, surrendering, giving, being, releasing, breathing, relaxing, surrendering, remembering, freeing, letting go, releasing everything, dropping the robes, lightening the load. Being one with everything I am, being all I am, one through all I am, allowing all I am, loving all I am, knowing all I am, honoring all I am, becoming all I am, remembering all I am, having fun, enjoying all I am, and making room, slowing down, surrendering, wearing down, to grind away, to polish, to refine. Like all the irritants of sand to form a pearl, so it is also like the pressure that's needed to form a diamond, and the dissolving of the caterpillar to become the butterfly, and to die and be reborn through the darkness into the light, and become lighter and fly higher, drink nectar and make sweet love to the flowers. But first the unraveling and the dissolution, the dissolving, rubedo, the sacrifice, the dismembering, the tower, the hanged man, the shaman's death, the ego death, initiation, rest and retreat, surrendering, trusting and recovering, regrouping, gathering, attending, nesting and preparing, praying, thanking, blessing, praising, acknowledging, valuing, noticing, appreciating, honoring, and playing, practicing, being. Thank you for my life and my gifts you've given me and we, to share, give, be, express, receive, forgiving, being, loving, all of me and we, all I am, all we are, all of we, all beings. And so, yeah, with that, I just want to share this little thing that I found about Medusa. And this is from the Awakening Women's Institute, and I'll put the link in the description box. If you could see the journey whole, you might never undertake it. You might never dare the first step that propels you from the place you have known toward the place you know not. Call it one of the mercies of the road, that we see it only by stages as it opens before us, as it comes into our keeping step by single step. There is nothing for it but to go, and by our going take the vows the pilgrim takes, to be faithful to the next step, to rely on more than the map, to heed the signposts of intuition and dream, to follow the star that only you will recognize, to keep an open eye for the wonders that attend the path, to press on beyond distractions, beyond fatigue, beyond what would tempt you from the way. There are vows that only you will know, the secret promises for your particular path, and the new ones you will need to make when the road is revealed by turns you could not have foreseen. Keep them, break them, make them again. Each promise becomes part of the path. Each choice creates the road that will take you to the place where at last you will kneel to offer the gift most needed, the gift that only you can give, before turning to go home by another way. This was by Jan Richardson. And so, Medusa calls us into a journey of retrieving wisdom from the deep, a path that is revealed through your wild intuition, one that offers insights and gifts needed to stay rooted and awake in this precarious time. All she wanted was to find a place to stretch her bones, a place to lengthen her smiles and spread her hair, a place where her legs could walk without cutting and bruising, a place unchained. She was born out of ocean breath. I reminded her, stop pouring so much of yourself into hearts that have no room for themselves. Do not thin yourself. Be vast. You do not bring the ocean to a river. And that's by Tapawa Mugabe. In our fear of the untamable totality of the goddess, we idolize transcendence and light, and we deem nature, body, death, and darkness. Worshipping at the altar of fragmentation, we place the holy far away from roots and wildness. Medusa, known in Greek mythology as a terrifying monster with serpent hair, dangerous to even look at, is in her essence a goddess of the deep mysteries emerging from much older cultures where she was revered as the regenerative life-death rebirth cycle itself. The dark goddess, once adored for her vast, intimate presence inside all living and decaying, her darkness celebrated as the womb of the world, a source of rejuvenation and healing, has been relegated into the underworld of the unwanted, turned into something we must avoid at all costs. Oh, I feel a tickle in my throat. And tears forming in my eyes. In our fear of the untamable totality of the goddess, we idolize transcendence and light. We denature body, death, and darkness. Worshipping at the altar of fragmentation, we place the holy far away from roots and wildness. In the myth, Medusa is beheaded by the celebrated hero who goes on to steal and make his own her powers of protection and healing. And it is through the lens of the hero we have learned to relate to the beheaded Medusa as the very symbol of the too much woman. The nasty woman, the danger and the dire consequences of women wanting too much, being too wild, too loud, and too complex. How does it affect your life and sense of self when the goddess is decapitated and her powers co-opted by the patriarchal agenda? And that's the fallen patriarchy. In what ways have you internalized the fear and persecution of the wider aspects of the feminine of yourself? Could it be possible that by facing and speaking the uncomfortable truths that you have been told to fear and avoid, you instead open yourself for the peace and healing that you long for? So could it be possible that by facing and speaking the uncomfortable truths that you have been told to fear and avoid, you instead open yourself for the peace and healing that you long for? Full of Shakti keys, Medusa's mythology opens doors into the complex layers of our fragmented self and offers profound instructions of how to retrieve true relaxation and trust in who we are and what we belong to. There are no unrealistic standards of perfection here. In Goddess Sadhana, you do as much or as little that works for you. This is a spiritual path that not only embraces your life, but is your life, not the elusive perfect version of it, but it just as it is. This is a spiritual path that not only embraces your life, but is your life, not the elusive perfect version of it, but just as it is. With the support of potent daily guidance, short and to the point, we will embrace the exiled and unconscious parts of our own self, and by doing our own inner work, we weave back into wholeness the tattered tapestry of our broken world for the benefit of all. If you long to root yourself in a deeper truth, to live awakening in your daily life, to embody Shakti, the divine creative power, more fully than this sadhana is for you, we do go deep. We do embrace both shadow and light as aspects of the goddess. We meet in a shared dedication to living awake. If you feel called, a pull, a sense of yes inside, then claim your seat in the circle. All levels of experience are welcome. Our focus in embodied spirituality is on direct experience. Your experience is the authority always. Your experience is the authority always. And that's by Camille Gad Arda, and she's the founder of Awakening Women and the Women's Wisdom School. And she's a storyteller and a women's wisdom keeper. Her love of ancient wisdom teachings and her own practice in women's circles all over the world has crystallized maps of spiritual awakening and leadership that are accessible, practical, and honoring of women today. Rooted in Earth's honoring devotional women's spirituality and goddess-centered tantric yoga, she is especially appreciated for her love of mythology and storytelling as a key to spiritual awakening and embodiment. And I super, super appreciate, all the things that I've received from Camille and from Awakening Women's Institute, and all that the goddess is always offering with, for, and through us, and through life. And so before I have a coughing attack, I'm going to say goodbye and send you well wishes and love. All right, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.